What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another Travel with Josh and Taylor, the travel podcast. It's just me today. Actually, it's not. Taylor's here too. She just had to run off camera to go get her
I'm back.
water.
I'm back with a new
there you go.
Starbucks cup. I just got a dirty look
Good
because
job.
I didn't have the mic up to my mouth.
Good job. And remember, we don't need to talk super loud. I just want to double check Taylor's angle here real quick.
I knew it.
Because she just got up and moved. So I just want to make sure. I'm just
Fine
checking.
focus.
Just making sure. You know, he's staying in focus over there.
Anyway, this is going to be our topic for today. Not necessarily Epcot, but
Disney.
our little Walt Disney World stay on property week.
Wow. Okay. Well, I wanted to start the podcast with this question that I think is an excellent question to pose to everybody right now, especially with us. Right, we've been traveling a lot, not going to Disney World very much. So I want to pose the question to everybody, which is Disney worth spending the money on these days in traveling to Walt Disney World? Because it is exceptionally expensive, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in today's episode. But I think one of the things that comes to my mind is that, like, Taylor and I have annual passes, so park tickets aren't something that we have to spend extra money on. But, you know, to enjoy some of those extra experiences, like skipping the lines, it was $35 per person
Per day.
per day
That was the max during our week.
Yeah, to get the Disney Genie Plus option. So, yeah, so I would love to know if you guys are watching this on YouTube. Leave us a comment. If you're listening in the car, you know, maybe shoot us a message or send us an email, travelwithjoshandtaylor@gmail.com, and let us know, because I would genuinely be interested to know. I mean, the amount of money that you spend going to Walt Disney World now really could be spent on visiting some of the real world places that you're going to see in Epcot. So,
Yeah. And speaking of that, I just posted, I can't remember if I posted it on YouTube Shorts or not, but I did post it on Instagram, of being in actual Venice, St. Mark's Square, and seeing the tower. And then I transitioned to the tower in Epcot in the Italy Pavilion, which, going to Disney all these years, I never really thought about actually going to those destinations, nor when I was younger did I really ever care if I went to those destinations, because I wasn't really thinking about that. I was just having a good time in Disney World. But as an adult, now, like, really enjoying traveling, I want to go to all of those places.
Right.
And we are going to try and go to the little, I forget what it's called, but it's the Stave Church that's in the Norway Pavilion.
Oh,
we
right,
are
yeah.
going to try and go there this summer. That it's part of our itinerary for our Northern Europe group cruise.
Right.
So we're going to see if we can get a bus. It should only be like a 10-15 minute ride.
right.
But we're going to see if we can do that, and that will be so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So we just, if you guys have watched the series, you know, of course people enjoy them. I know the vast majority of our fan base, I hate to call it that. It just made me cringe on the inside. But the vast majority of you out there who have been watching us from the very beginning have been Disney people. So I know that our Disney videos...
You can say viewers. Or
Yeah, I mean, I know you
I
out
like
there...
viewers better than followers. Viewers sound...
Well, I said fan
I
base.
know. Fans is definitely cringe. But viewers, I think, is good when we're talking about video, because they are viewing the videos.
So I know that typically they're going to do better than anything else. We've also been posting a lot more, but I just, if you haven't watched those, go back and watch them. They, you know, I mean, it's, you know,
The series
fun
from
Disney
Walt
stuff.
Disney World, where we just
Right.
stayed at French Quarter for almost a week, like 4 days.
4 days, I'd say.
I think we stayed there for like
Yeah.
3 or 4 nights.
Yeah.
That's a week to me.
Yeah, and now with that being said, you know, we opened the video, or we opened up the podcast with saying, you know, how much it costs and it was expensive. Obviously, there are parameters around that, right? I mean, we went over spring break and leading up to Easter. And when I say leading up to Easter, like literally the week before Easter. So we were there Tuesday to Friday.
We technically checked out of French Quarter on Friday.
Right.
Easter was on Sunday.
And stayed at the Treehouse Villas on Saturday. Or Friday into Saturday. Sorry. Yeah. So it was busy. Obviously, it's going to be more expensive. But I mean, I think for a lot of families out there, right? If you're looking to try and minimize the time that you're taking your kids out of school, you're probably gonna have to go over those holidays or go in the summertime, things like that. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a question that's worth asking. Yes, I know. I'm like, so anyways,
What's also funny is that we didn't know what we were talking about until after Josh pressed record on both of these cameras. I'm like, bro, we didn't discuss what we're gonna
yeah, it's
talk
fine.
about.
We'll figure it out.
We do like it being off the fly, but I at least like to know like what direction we're going with the episode, so I can start like thinking of things that I want to talk about. So we had about 0.5 seconds
Right.
before Josh started talking to know what our topic was for today. But honestly, even though we're not going to Disney World as often as we have in the past, just because we are trying, we're not trying to necessarily branch out for our YouTube channel. We're really branching out for ourselves. I can't tell you how fun it is, honestly, just planning the trips that we're going on.
Right.
And then once we actually go on them, it's like, obviously it's more exciting, but it's like, oh my gosh, like we were just sitting at home planning this trip. And like, I feel like you do get that same excitement when you plan a Disney World trip. So it actually has been a little bit more exciting for us not going to the parks as often. And then when we do want to go, we don't have to stay on property, but
Right.
it's kind of fun to go over there and stay on property for a few nights.
Yeah. Well,
And really dive into Disney.
yeah, I mean, we still had a vehicle to drive while we were there, but I always, when we stay on property, like, and a lot of you out there are going to know exactly what I'm talking about, which is nostalgia. Like there's a nostalgic type of Disney trip that you probably have, or maybe something that you kind of relive each time you go to Disney. For me, when I first went with Taylor's family way back in 2009, and missed a week of college and almost failed out of college,
And this was before Wi-Fi was like super readily available.
Oh, I forgot about
Josh
that.
literally
Yeah.
had to bring an Ethernet cable
Yeah.
to plug into the hardwired internet
Yeah,
at
right into the wall.
Saratoga Springs so
Yeah.
that he could
I
use
think
the internet, take a couple of his finals.
Nah.
Yes, you had a final that you had to take.
Maybe.
You did.
I definitely had some tests.
And he had like a paper or something that he had to submit.
Yeah.
And we were like, once we got there, we were like, oh my gosh, like, how are you going to submit this stuff?
Right.
And he's like, oh, there's got to be Ethernet cables. There was one
Yeah.
Ethernet cable
Well, you would think
in
there's.
our 2-bedroom villa at Saratoga
You would
Springs.
think too, like back in the day, that there would have been one in the lobby or some form of internet access in the lobby, but.
Yeah. It's
but-
not like it is today.
No, but going back to that, I loved taking the buses, and people are like, I hate taking the buses because they're like packed in there like sardines sometimes.
We literally have friends that
But-
will refuse to
To
take
take
the
the-
bus.
yeah.
They love to stay on property. They refuse to take the bus.
Right.
They would rather pay the $40 to take a minivan
Yeah.
on a 5-minute ride
Yeah.
than take the bus. They would
Yeah.
probably rather walk than take the bus, which we don't understand because we
Yeah.
love the bus.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
it is the nostalgia feeling.
well, I think the other thing too is that like we do enjoy taking the bus. Typically, when we've done that, we don't normally stay at All Stars, which we have in the past. The past few times we've stayed at All Stars a pop,
I
but
think we stayed at the All-Stars during Marathon Weekend.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
sports
but of
weekend.
course, then at that time, like we weren't taking the buses to go to the parks. We were literally just getting up and doing the races, so we were missing that aspect of it. But even at Port Orleans, the buses weren't really ever that crowded, So it was still really nice to be able to get on the bus, and just kind of relax a little bit and not have to stress about parking and then walking into the park or any of those other things you let somebody else do on the driving for
I
you.
absolutely love taking a bus to Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, I mean, it's the
When
best
you
place to
aren't-
take
when
the
you
transportation.
aren't staying at a monorail resort
Yeah.
and you can take a bus to Magic Kingdom, it's the best decision you will ever make. Because if you drive your own car, you got to give yourself an extra 30 to 45 minutes to get from your car into the park
Right.
because it's so far away.
Right.
So literally the day we went to Magic Kingdom, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so nice. Like we got here so quick.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. It was really great. And I love that about kind of, as Taylor was saying, was like going back to being less, going to the parks less means that when we go, it's a little bit more special than what it has been. So it can be a little bit more like a vacation, and we can kind of
it feels more like a vacation
right.
than when we like. I really think about when we first moved to Florida.
Yeah.
Was like, I literally went to the parks every day for like 2 weeks when we first moved down because I was waiting to start my job.
Right.
And like, it was awesome. And I still like remember how much fun I had in those weeks. But then I think about that and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I literally just like walked around and tried to do as much as I possibly could on all those days. And I'm like, why did I do that when I was literally living here?
Well, and I think the other thing too, though, now is that I am very much an old person now because I have.
We're both the old people now.
Well, I mean, and some of you out there may feel the same
We're
way.
old souls.
Right. I mean, but some of you out there may feel the same way in the fact that when we were walking around, it might have been Hollywood Studios or Epcot. I can't remember which park it was specifically. But I had a moment of being like, it's just not the same as what it used to be. Not to say that it's a bad thing or anything like that, but for me, the really great times that I remember of Disney are the days gone by. Like, they're just not there anymore. The parks are literally overcrowded with people, whether you're going over the holidays or not. Even if you're trying to get in on a less busy season, which Disney has done a phenomenal job of removing that basically from the equation. Like, you almost can't find a time.
There's not a downtime like there used to be.
I mean, they have really gotten to the point of like, if this period in time was not busy, they have found a way to incorporate something. Most of the time it's with the festivals, right? Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, back in the day, you could go to Disney.
Back in the day, it's not even a joke. Like, you could go and do whatever you wanted to do. I think about this all the time. It was in 2016 when we moved to Florida. Josh's brother Matthew came down to visit us like not long after we had moved in because he had bought an annual pass when he helped us move to Florida. And him and I went to the parks one day and Josh had to work like he had like a 7 to 3, 4 o'clock job. And he's like, I'll meet you at Animal Kingdom when I'm done working. And we're like, okay, whatever. Like we'll go and we'll just do whatever. We ended up park hopping that day. But this was when the old Fast Pass system was in with the it was on My Disney Experience, but it was the old version of Fast Pass. We did
Fast Pass Plus.
We did our 3 Fast Passes, and then after that, after you use your first 3 Fast Passes, you can book as many as you want over and over again. You can book the same attraction over and over again. We rode Expedition Everest. I kid you not, I have a picture somewhere. 8 times in a row.
Yeah.
I literally mean in a row. We would scan our magic bands, go through the queue, and then we would literally get on My Disney Experience and book a Fast Pass for Expedition Everest that would be like 5 minutes from that time.
Yeah.
There was nobody in the park. This was the week after Halloween. I remember the week after Halloween in 2016.
Yeah.
It was dead. And we're just like, how is this even happening? Oh, I was so sick after riding it 8 times in a row so close together.
Yeah.
But it was totally worth it at the time.
Well, and it's just, it's something where, you know, I'm not saying that you can't go and have a great time at Disney World. I mean, we were just there and we had a fantastic time.
We did.
However, we are so seasoned at being at Disney, we don't necessarily have to ride everything or feel like we have to ride everything to get our money's worth of being there in the parks. You know, I think like for me, the biggest disappointment of the entire trip was I didn't get to ride Soarin'. But if you watched in the video, we got to Soarin', which it said it was 45 minutes, and everybody must have seen that in the entire park and said, oh, it's 45 minutes. Let's go get in line. The line, okay, which is like basically standing room only, right? There's no like definitive hard, you know,
like straight
3-foot
single file line.
Yeah, like 3-foot space, you know, queue line. It's that huge thing that you fill in, and they will tell you to fill that space in. It was out of the queue space.
Yeah.
And they were starting to wrap it around
into like that little waiting area where people stay with their kids.
Back into like where the stairs were at. So, you know, I mean, we've done it so many times. We don't need to sit and wait or stand there and wait to ride it, you know? So our experience...
Plus we can just come back and do it another day.
I mean, exactly. You know, like our experience is very different than what yours is. So, but that's why I like to ask the question or start with that question, which is, you know, is it worth still going to Disney World as a family maybe? Because we obviously don't have kids. So it's only Taylor and I. We only have to worry about ourselves. We could certainly splurge on $35 a person if we really wanted to.
Yeah. but it's all really what you want to spend your money on and how
Yeah.
you manage your time at Disney World. And so, like, normally, if we want to go to Disney on just like a random day, say we want to go to Magic Kingdom, we typically do not rope drop because we don't want to get up that early in the morning to go over the parks. So we'll pick like a time like in the afternoon or the evening to go over, and if there's like one thing we want to make sure we'll ride, even if it's like a 35-40 minute wait, we'll be like, okay, we just want to do this one thing. We'll wait in the line, we'll ride it, and then if anything else has a short wait time or whatever, we'll do that too. If not, we'll just walk around the parks. We'll come back another day.
Right.
Or if we really want to do something, we will plan to come back and rope drop a different day.
Right.
But staying on property is a whole different ball game, and you have to manage your time well. I think about this a lot because when I stay on property, in my mind, because of how my family has always done Disney World, and they still do it this way, I have to rope drop.
Yeah.
If there are extra hours in the morning, I have to go. I can't miss it. We thought about missing it.
Right.
What are you looking at?
Oh, nothing. I was just gonna say, like, if you're staying on property, like, it's really worth your money and time to use it.
It is worth your money. Like, you're paying on to stay at Disney World, and they're giving you, even though it's only 30 minutes, sometimes they open it more than 30 minutes. They opened it an hour early on all the days we were there because it was so busy. But you like, that's part of what you pay for, that extra time in the parks to be able to do those rides that get a really long wait throughout the day.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I have to do it to make sure we get our money's worth. I prefer to come back and have a nap in the afternoon and then get up super early in the morning to do my rope drop.
Yeah.
So that I can ride what it is that I want to ride. And that's kind of what we did the whole trip, was prioritized, okay, what do we have to do that's like most important to us that we're going to do first?
Right.
Because we did not buy Disney Genie Plus. We
No.
definitely could have, but we were not planning on being in the parks all day long.
Right.
Because when we stay on property, we do like to enjoy the resort as well. Like, that's kind of, that's part of the experience for us, is that we want to enjoy the hotel that we're staying at. And we try to stay at different places whenever we do decide to stay on property. But what I was thinking, is that I have some relatives that go to Disney World. I don't think they go every year anymore, but they used to.
Yeah.
They would not get up until about 10 o'clock in the morning and then go to the parks at, like, super late, and then be like, oh yeah, well, we didn't get to ride that today, but we'll try again tomorrow. And I'm just like, but if you get up at 10 o'clock again tomorrow, you're still not going to get to do it without a long wait. Like, what are you doing? Like, the rest of us are already, like, done with many rides, and they're, like, just showing up, and we're just like, okay, well, we're not going to wait around for you. We're going to do our own thing.
Yeah. And
It's been years since we've gone, with everybody, but...
Yeah. And a tip that I would give to everybody, too, is that if you do prefer to bring your own vehicle, when you're going in to do those early morning magic hours or half hours, whatever the heck they want to call them, it's really not beneficial.
Early entry.
Yeah, early entry. It's really not actually beneficial for you to drive your own vehicle. And this isn't happening all the time, but this does happen quite a bit, which is that if you try to be one of the very first vehicles to get there because you think you're going to be able to park early and be one of the first people in line, in our experience, right, this is both staying on property and obviously not being on property and trying to get in and rope drop and all those things with our own vehicle and having to park. The buses, the resort guests are actually going to more times than not will be the first people in there. The buses will go in first before they even begin to open up the parking lot. Yep. We've seen this at Animal Kingdom. We've seen this at Hollywood Studios. Not really all that much at Epcot, but it's something to think about, that if you are wanting to take advantage of those, you really should get up earlier, get on the bus, try to be some of the first people on the first bus to get there if you want to get in and be the first people in.
And they say that the first bus, I looked on Disney, I saw it on my Disney experience. There's like something about transportation on there, and I think it takes you to like the Disney World website about like the rules and hours and whatever of like Disney transportation. It says that the buses start running 45 minutes before park open. So if early entry is 30 minutes early, that bus is going to start running 45 minutes before that early entry.
Right.
So you don't need to get up that 45 minutes. You need to be up and ready and at the bus stop 45 minutes before that early entry time starts so that you can get on that first bus and be one of the first people in line. Because while that kind of stinks, and I remember people telling me like, oh, that's so stupid that you get to the park early so that you can rope drop because you're standing there waiting for an hour anyway. I'd rather wait an hour not in a line than wait an hour in a line.
Right. Yeah.
So the park's not open yet. I can go walk on to my first attraction and then immediately get off and go walk on another attraction. Versus waiting in an hour line for each of those, which then takes up 2 hours instead of just that 1 hour or whatever that I waited before the park actually.
I mean, you are still waiting, sometimes in a line to get into the gate.
If you're going to a theme park,
but
you just have to have the mentality you're going to be waiting at some point.
Yeah, I mean, you are.
It's just when you choose to do it.
It's just more, I think that's a better management of your time, is just to do it in that space to get into the park rather than now you're wasting actual park time in the park,
and
right?
That's exactly it. People used to fight with me about why you should just get there when the park opens or after the park's open, and I'm like, nope. I'm like, I'm going to ride way more rides than you are.
Right.
Because I'm getting there early.
Yeah. And I think that that's just something that, that's not really anything that's new. It's always been that way.
Always.
With doing a Disney vacation is always, taking advantage of those things that Disney provides to you, that people don't take advantage of, which you should, right? It's just, are things like that. So, but yeah, we stayed at Port Orleans, which was a great, we love staying at Port Orleans. I think we're kind of debating, we've been debating on whether or not we've actually stayed at French Quarter before. Taylor says we haven't. I thought we did.
We've only gone over there to eat.
But we've now stayed at both sides, French Quarter and Riverside, and both great options. It doesn't really, I don't think there's really any like benefit from one or the other. If you're thinking of like, which one's better to stay at, they're really basically the same.
I just prefer Riverside because it's a bigger resort.
It is.
And they have multiple pools throughout the resort.
Yeah. But I think you will probably find French Quarter tends to be a little bit cheaper than Riverside if you're thinking about staying over there. So, I mean, what else should we talk about? Something that we missed, which maybe we shouldn't talk about, are the Easter eggs over at Grand Floridian. Even though we were at Grand Floridian, I just thought about that.
We were literally at Grand Floridian.
We even walked into the lobby.
I thought about it after we left that evening because we walked in from the monorail.
No, we walked in from the back, from the boat launch.
That's right. That's right.
No, we walked in from the walkway, which is still the boat launch area. But
it's like the back door over by Grand Floridian Cafe.
Yeah.
Yes. So we came in a different way, but we went up the back stairs.
And we went up the back stairs, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So we went in, which is a good segue to mention Gold Go Getaways. We went in to meet up with some of the agents from Gold Go Getaways.
We did it at Enchanted Rose. That was so fun.
Yeah, they were there for like a little travel agent.
It's like
education program,
for
basically.
Agencies.
Yeah. So we met up with them, and if you're interested in booking your next Disney vacation with Gold Go Getaways, you can head on over to www.goldgogetaways.com. But yeah, that was kind of nice to meet some of them. Some of them I've met before, just through video, doing podcasts, things like that. Others I haven't met at all before, but it was nice to be able to sit down and chat. We had a couple of cocktails. But yeah, we were in Grand Floridian and never walked over to see the Easter eggs. So for Easter every year,
that was on my list of things to do while we were there.
Yeah, and every year they put up, the what do you call them? The pastry chefs, I guess maybe, are ones who decorate these eggs. I don't know if they're technically all like chocolate eggs, but they do these big kind of like decorative eggs that you can go down and take pictures of and everything else, get video of whatever you want to do. But they're pretty cool to see. And it's just one of those things where, like, you don't actually have to be staying at Grand Floridian to go and experience those things. So,
is he just sleeping behind you this whole time?
No, I think he's dead.
He hasn't moved. It's a little concerning. Okay, we're good.
If I tell him I'm going to eat him for breakfast, he usually gets up.
Don't say that. He doesn't like it.
I'm going to eat you for breakfast. He must be tired.
He must be tired.
Yeah, I think that was one thing that we had missed being over there.
Hey, buddy.
Hello. That was one thing that we missed. But I do want to talk about this. I think it just blows my mind that so many people misconstrue this so much. And if you've been watching our videos, then you probably already know this, but is like this resort hopping thing, right?
Oh.
I did kind of make this a point in that video about Narcoossee's and going to Grand Floridian.
No, we went to Citricos. No, we went to Narcoossee's. I'm sorry.
Where are you at, buddy?
I'm sorry. My
Yeah, we went to Narcoossee's, but I made it a point in that video to mention that you can resort hop without actually having a reservation or staying there or anything else like that. This is a really big thing when it comes to the holidays in Disney World in like late November, into December, and even into like the first week of January, right? Moving into marathon weekend. It's a really great thing to just take a day from the parks and go and explore some of the resorts. You don't need a reservation. You don't have to be staying there. There's nothing specific that you need. If you have your own vehicle and you want to park your vehicle at that resort, then yes.
I think this is why people get confused about it, because they try to drive and park there and
Right.
they're told no.
Yeah. And you will be told no. They're going to turn you
Yes,
away.
Oh, you definitely will.
But that's, again, I think what comes back to, listen, take advantage of Disney's transportation. It's not always the fastest. Things do happen. I think actually the day that we were going to Magic Kingdom, we saw that there was a bus that got broke down. It wasn't one of the Disney buses, I don't think. But do you remember that? It was broken down like
It
right
was
before the Contemporary.
Was it the Swan and Dolphin bus?
Might have been the Swan and Dolphin bus.
think?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like kind of pulled off to the side of the road,
Yeah.
but it's only like a little 2-lane road.
Yeah, so it basically
the
was
buses
one
got
lane.
a little bit delayed, so we
Yeah.
like hustled to get over to the Grand Floridian.
Yeah. No, we hustled to get into Magic Kingdom. Yeah. No? Was it that day?
That was when we walked over to.
Was it that same day?
Yeah.
Maybe. No, it doesn't matter. But anyways, but yeah, so take advantage of Disney's transportation because it enables you to, I think, a little bit easier, or it enables you to move a little more freely throughout property, right? When you have your own vehicle,
Sometimes
it's
you have to
challenging.
plan a little bit further in advance.
Yeah.
Because Walt Disney World is quite large. You know, the buses aren't flying through traffic like you can in a car.
Right.
So, you know, you have to plan with a little extra time to get to where you want to go. But it's convenient because it's free and you can go to literally any place on property without
Right.
having to you
Yeah.
know, pay for parking or have a reservation.
Yep. Yeah. Now, essentially, you won't be able to resort hop on a bus for the most part. You will, like, if you're at Grand Floridian and you want to go to Beach Club, you'll have to take a bus to Disney Springs or Epcot or Hollywood Studios and then hop a bus back to over there. But if you're going that way, you could just walk. I'm not going to get into the whole details about that. That's not what this episode's about.
I was
but
going to say, this episode is not about that.
transportation. We do have a pretty good Disney transportation video.
We
So
do have a good
if you're interested, you can go and watch that. Nothing has
It's
changed.
an oldie.
I mean, yeah, nothing has changed about it. I'm not sure if we recorded that before the Skyliner,
I don't think it has anything with the Skyliner in it.
but regardless, I mean,
it was a while
it's
ago.
all the same. So nothing's really changed.
Well, what I was going to say is going back to talking about, like, is it worth it? Because we didn't use Disney Genie Plus. So we have already kind of beaten this with a dead horse. We feel like you have to rope drop when you're staying on property to get the most out of your stay. If you really don't care what you do, then sure, don't rope drop. Or if you buy Disney Genie and you get the rides that you want to ride, sure, maybe don't rope drop. But if you want to make sure that you can ride exactly what it is what you want to ride, or try and ride everything in a park in one day, the best way to do it is going to be to rope drop. And like I said, we didn't buy Disney Genie on this trip, not because of the price, but because we didn't feel like we needed to ride everything while we were there.
Right.
Like we already said, we can come back and ride whenever we want to ride. But because we were staying on property, I wanted to make sure we could rope drop the rides that we wanted to ride. Where did we go on our first day? I literally don't even remember. I think Animal Kingdom for rope dropping.
Our first day at Animal Kingdom.
I think
We
it
did-
was Animal Kingdom
we
because
did-
Animal Kingdom was priority on my list for Flight of Passage. Hold on, I have it right here. Yep. So we
Yeah.
arrived on the 26th for check-in.
Right.
That was when we checked in. And we went to Epcot that day, so we did not rope drop because we went over in the afternoon.
Right.
We were hoping we were going to be able to get into our room a little bit earlier, but there wasn't anything ready yet. And we were like, okay, that's fine. Like, whatever. It's spring break. It's busy. We don't care that our room's not ready early. We're just going to go over to the parks. So went to Epcot. So the next day was our first full park day, or morning rope drop day, because we did not stay there the whole entire day. My priority was flight of passage. So we made sure we were up super early, got ready, got out to the bus with plenty of time for early entry to get to the park, go through security, and then go in. Turns out we got there around, it was about 7:15, 7:20 in the morning. The park officially opened at 8, so early entry would start at 7.
7:30.
Or 7:30, sorry. When we got there,
At 7:15.
I think we were up at the gate by like 7:20. They were already letting people in, and when we got into the park, there were already people leaving Flight of Passage that had already ridden it.
Right.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like I didn't think this was going to open till 7:30. Like,
Yep.
okay, now we got to like really hustle to get into Flight of Passage. We ended up pretty much walking, like it was just, we never stopped in the queue. It was a walk through the whole entire queue. We did not stop until they put us in, like, there's like the 6 rows that you can go in.
Yeah, basically after
whatever.
like what you would call the merge point.
The merge point with Fast Pass or Lightning Lane. We didn't stop until then. So we were on and off that ride still before the park officially opened.
Yeah.
Which was perfect because then we could still go ride a few other attractions.
Right.
I think we ended up going to Everest because the safari was closed.
They weren't
It hadn't
opening till like
yet.
8:30 or something like that.
Yeah, they said they were having some issues or something.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, well, we're not going to stand here and wait around for the safari. We'll just go to Everest.
Another Josh's favorite didn't get to ride.
Whatever. And then our Everest, we also did not stop in the queue. It looked like it was long because it was weaving all outside and stuff, but we never stopped moving. It was less than 10 minutes till we got on the ride. And we asked for the back, like we always do. Always ask for the back. It's the best seat. I don't care what anybody says. The front is slow. The back is best. It is. And then we went to Dinosaur. We checked on the app to see like what the safari looked like because we're like, okay, well maybe we'll backtrack and go to the safari. But it was saying it was like a really long wait, so we're like,
it was crazy long.
Yeah, let's just go to Dinosaur, and if we can't do anything else after Dinosaur, that's fine.
Yeah.
Because really, I wanted to do Flight of Passage. That was like my priority for all of Animal Kingdom. Josh was just kind of there for whatever. So we did Dinosaur.
No, I was there for Satuli Canteen.
Well, yeah. We did Dinosaur, and then we went and did the trails.
Yep.
In Asia and Africa. We did the Maharaja Jungle Trek, and we did Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail.
Yep.
A lot of people skip those, and we love them. We love just kind of seeing the animals and taking a little nosy through the jungle parts.
I think it's part of just kind of trying to have a more relaxing trip. Obviously, that like it's something that people definitely rush through. I mean, we still kind of rush through it ourselves. And to be honest, we were just trying to buy time until Satuli Canteen opened at 10:30.
We did want to eat lunch there.
But I mean, they're still worth checking out, you know. And hopefully, if the rumors hold true and they demolish basically all of Dino Land and build,
well, the roller coaster's already gone.
Yeah, I mean, it's been gone for a while, but you know, I mean, but if they demolish it and build, you know, a Zootopia or whatever they're planning to do, I mean, that will be a park that people have always claimed.
Where are you getting Zootopia from? Did you not watch anything at D23?
Oh, is it confirmed? Zootopia or
no?
What is it? Did they say?
Encanto and Indiana Jones.
Oh, is it officially Encanto and Indiana Jones?
Well, that's what their plan was on the map. It was.
Okay.
But
so nothing's
never
official.
said
Okay, well, whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter. Whatever they decide to put over there
would make the most sense to me. But
yeah, I mean, whatever they plan to put over there will make what people say is a half-day park into I'm sure, certainly a full-fledged, full-day park to try and keep people there as long as they can and spend some more money.
I think people call it a half-day park because they just do the attractions that you ride,
right,
and then they leave.
Yeah,
they don't do like Festival of the Lion King and Finding Nemo
Right.
and the exploration trails.
Right.
They don't see the other animal little areas that you can go through.
Yeah. Animal encounters.
Yes, the oh my gosh, the tamarin monkeys.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, they
They're
had
little babies.
and they were
Yeah.
so cute.
Yeah.
I was so excited about that before we left for our trip. I don't even know what I'm saying.
The tamarin monkeys?
Yes, before we went over there, it was like,
Buddy, you got to get checked over there.
hold on, when did we go there? Because I feel like
Swimming around in your fishbowl.
Yes, I am. Hold on. I'm getting my trips confused. I saw on Instagram that they had the tamarin monkey babies, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we got to get over there. Well, I was like working a bunch of days in a row because I knew we were going to be going over to the parks. Oh, here comes Josh checking the video. Is it off?
No, but I'm just making sure that you like are moving. You move so much. Sullivan. I'm sitting there.
He'll move.
Doot, 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 doot. All right. Anyways, so the tamarin monkeys.
Anyway, so I saw a post about these tamarin monkeys, and I was really excited, and I almost forgot. We were actually out by the shops about to leave after Satuli Canteen, and I was like, I'm like, we gotta go back and see the tamarin monkey babies. So we did go back, and we saw the monkeys. You preoccupied over there, or what?
No, it's fine. Anyways,
Okay.
so okay, so tamarin monkeys, Animal Kingdom. Let's talk about dining a little bit for the trip, for the Disney trip.
The
So
Disney dining plan is back.
the Disney dining plan is back. It's
We
not.
did not do it.
It's not.
I really thought about it, but we didn't.
It's not the old Disney dining plan of days gone by.
Yeah.
Speaking of days gone by, but it is back. You can take advantage of it if you'd like. I don't know. I can't speak to whether or not it has any value to it or not because we haven't really looked into it all that much. But I think it's definitely something where a lot of people are missing out on is dining. Sometimes it is certainly another thing that you have to budget for because dining in Disney is certainly not cheap whatsoever. So
I was watching a video the other day. It was a TikTok, and this girl said something about like, oh, well, that's not bad for Disney prices. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious because I know I say that.
right. I mean, because when you live in the bubble of Disney and
even the
eating,
surrounding area.
well, yeah, I mean, even in the surrounding area, right? It does become a pretty common thing. And so if you're watching from back home and you live out in the middle of nowhere or even in a smaller town, and you think that like, I don't know, $12 or $15 for a large pizza is like kind of expensive. You go to Disney and you try to get a pizza like that, it's going to cost you like $25. It's probably not a good analogy, but everything is going to be inflated as far as pricing goes. And so everything will be more expensive. And so you do have to budget for that. We ate at one new restaurant while we were on this trip, which was, what's the name of it again? It's down at Disney Springs.
Summer House.
Summer House. Yeah.
On the lake at Disney Springs.
Yeah. Organic, whatever ingredients, Californian inspiration.
It's like California type dishes with Florida grown ingredients.
There you go. Whatever. It was pretty good, but they
It
were
was pretty
really
good.
expensive prices, I think.
It was pretty
Yeah.
expensive. Now, compared to other Disney restaurants at Disney Springs, it's pretty comparable.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it is a little bit pricey,
Yeah.
if you're paying out of pocket.
Right. And so we also ate at Narcoossee's on the trip, which we've eaten at many times before. They've just revamped their menu again.
Narcoossee's is one of like the signature dining restaurants, if
Yeah.
you will. So the prices are more expensive, but we knew that going to stay over on property.
Right. And I would say too, like if you're looking to spend more, like I don't want to say more money, but if you're trying to figure out where you want to spend your money at when it comes to eating at a restaurant, I think you are far better off to pick something like Narcoossee's or Citrico's, California Grill over the more expensive sit downs in Disney Springs, only because you have access to like fireworks at Magic Kingdom, right? I think that was really great about eating at Narcoossee's was that afterwards we went over to the Poly and we had some drinks and we sat there on the beach and then watched the fireworks. And it was really nice and really relaxing. It's, I think, another thing that people overlook when they go to the parks and they think like they have to be in the parks all the time, squished with people on Main Street watching the fireworks.
It was so much better to watch the fireworks at the Poly Beach.
It was.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It was still busy. There was quite a few people out there.
Right.
But we got there a little bit early. We weren't planning on sitting at the beach for that long, but we couldn't get into Trader Sam's, and the terrace was, every table was full. So we just got drinks to go, and we walked around for a little bit, and then we saw there were some chairs on the beach empty, so we were like, oh, well, let's just sit here for a little bit. We might move for the fireworks, and we ended up just sitting there the whole entire time.
Yeah.
And we enjoyed our cocktails, and then the fireworks went off, and we had a perfectly great end to our evening.
Yeah, I think it's something that definitely gets overlooked, especially when it comes to Trader Sam's. We talked about this in the video, which was that, like, you know, everybody wants to go inside of Trader Sam's. Obviously, that is a completely, totally unique experience that can't be experienced outside on the terrace. But if you do want those great cocktails, you can still get them outside at the bar. And now they do sell some of the mugs, the cups. You can get some of the cups outside. Not all of them.
I think you've always been able to get the mugs outside.
I don't think so. I don't think all of them. Like, occasionally I thought they only had a few, but can you now? I mean, I thought when they first opened you couldn't do that. Like, you could only get them
when they first
inside.
opened, but how many years ago are we talking there,
I
buddy?
guess so. You're right. But I don't know. Whatever. It's a thing that I think that gets overlooked a lot, is just being able to take those moments in the resorts and relax a bit. Because something that we also hear a lot too are people who go to Disney, especially with their kids, the families, right? And like, dad or mom are like, oh my gosh, it's just so exhausting because we're like in the parks all day long. We're running back and forth and the kids are crying and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I mean, like we saw a lot of families out there on the beach, right, with their kids. Sure, you know, if they were staying at the Poly, I think some of them went and got towels and put the towels down in the sand. If you plan ahead, you can get a blanket and bring a blanket to put down in the sand and sit there, or sit up in the grass.
I think a lot of people, when they go on vacation to Disney World, they just don't, like, all they're thinking about is the parks. Yeah, sure, they're thinking about staying on property. Oh, I want to stay on property. Right. I want the extra hours in the park. I want to be able to get my lightning lane early. I want to, you know, whatever, the dining plan.
Right.
But they don't always think about utilizing the amenities at their resorts.
Yeah.
And taking a break. And that is something, we used to go for long trips to Disney whenever I was younger. We would go for like 10-day trips to Walt Disney World. However, we would go for 10 days, so that way we could go rope drop in the morning, go back to the hotel, swim in the pool, take a nap, go to dinner, and then maybe go into the park in the evening to watch the fireworks.
Yep.
Or if there was like a late hours, you know, for Disney resort guests, like we would stay in the parks for that. They used to, when I was real little, they had like e-ticket nights or something, and it was like a special ticketed event, and they'd only have certain attractions open, kind of like how After Hours is now, but it was cheaper then.
Yeah.
and felt a little cooler then. It felt more exclusive back in the day. But yeah, people don't take advantage of their resorts.
Right.
Which I think if you are feeling tired and exhausted during your trip, if you go back again, you need to plan for, hey, I need to go back and take a nap in the afternoon, or even just go back to your hotel and change your clothes.
Right.
You have no idea how much better you will feel if you literally just change your clothes.
Yeah.
Get out of your sweaty outfit, like freshen up a little bit. You don't even need to take a shower. Just change your clothes. Shower when you get back at night. But like, just changing your clothes, you'll feel so much better. And just to be able to sit down like on your bed, or if you have a room that has a couch in it, just sit down on something comfortable for a little bit.
Right.
And you'll be like, okay, I'm ready. We can go back out now.
Yeah.
Like, it just makes a huge difference to have an actual relaxing break and not just sitting on like the ground or the curb or a park bench or the grass. Because I feel like I see so many people in the grass at Epcot over by Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, yeah, like
People
where the monorail's
just
at and
think
stuff?
that they just climb up over the edge and go lay down
Yeah,
on the
but I mean,
grass.
like, but it's not roped off or anything, you know?
It is
I
not
mean,
roped off, but like, why don't you
again,
just go back to your hotel for a little bit and take a break?
But I mean, here's the thing, though. It's like you want to just. There are definitely people who just want to sit in the parks and just enjoy the sights and sounds and people watching the parks. I mean, think about this too.
I also just can't handle rope drop to park closed day anymore.
I mean, it's a lot, but think about this though too. Though there used to be a time in Epcot where they would open the fenced area of where the lagoon is at for New Year's Eve, right? And you could literally, like, they would let people sit all up and down, going not into the main lagoon, but basically like where
over by the Odyssey,
and on the other side
over by Imagination Pavilion, like
yes,
that direction.
Yeah, that area over there, which now has like flowers in it right now for Flower and Garden
World
Festival.
Showcase Lagoon, the two like small
little
areas.
But they would open those up and they would put special lights on there too, so they would be lit and you could sit in there and relax. Most of the time there would be people sitting in there from like literally when the park opens. They would sit there literally all day because that's what the spot they wanted to watch fireworks, right? You can't do that anymore, but just kind of going off of that whole thing that like people just sometimes like to just sit in the grass, and that's their form of relaxation. They don't want to leave and go back to the resort.
But those are the same people that are going to come home and complain about how exhausted they are.
They might be. They might be.
Don't get me wrong, a Disney vacation is exhausting, whether you go back and relax or not.
Right. So, speaking of, like, is a trip to Disney World worth it, or even going, Disneyland, I'd rather probably go to Disneyland than I'd rather book a vacation to come back to Disney World. What else should we talk about?
I don't know.
So, if Taylor doesn't know, then we'll switch the subjects up here a little bit. So, the next video series coming out is Scotland, right?
Give a little update on that.
So is Scotland. So I have one video left from our Disney trip, which will get posted, I think, like on Wednesday. If you're listening to this or watching this on Monday, the next video coming out will be from that last little bit of Disney. So after that, it's all Scotland stuff for I don't know how long, because I don't know how many videos I'm actually going to get out of that.
We were there for 10-ish days.
Right. So.
But there were like maybe at least 2 days during the trip where there wasn't like a whole lot happening. Right.
We had some like transitional days of a lot of driving, which we were trying to avoid, but it didn't happen. So, that's the next set of videos that are coming out. But the actual next trip that we're doing, which we would love some feedback from you guys on things that maybe you would like to see, things that you would like to know more about. We just gave Patreon an update about this. Is
we're going on the Disney Wish.
Yippee! So it's kind of funny. We've been talking about this, that our schedule is just like, is always a lot of fun.
Well, our schedule is always like, it looks empty, and then like we look at it again a couple days later and it's like full.
Yeah. So we have a wedding on May the 4th. Has nothing to do with Star Wars, unfortunately. I don't think. I don't think they're Star Wars fans.
I don't think they are.
But they have a wedding on May the 4th. We have engagement session for a couple on May the 5th. And that wedding is back in Pennsylvania. So then we have an engagement session the next day in Pennsylvania. We're going to drive down to Florida to be on the ship on May 6th, right? So no time to breathe. And then we're going to be on there for 4 nights. It's a 4-night sailing. If you don't know, the Wish does 3 and 4-night sailings currently. They'll probably continue to do that for the foreseeable future. And then when we come back, we're going to be flying out west to Vegas, but we're not going to Vegas. We are kind of going to Vegas, but not really.
Kind of, but not really.
We're going to be doing a trip out west. So, but I brought that up because I would love to get some of your guys' feedback when we talk about, is a Disney World vacation worth it? You know, a lot of times I think now you can get, obviously you can't ride all the rides, but you can get that same white glove Disney fun experience without standing in those long lines in the parks, without dealing with the heat.
What a segue.
I know, right? And maybe spend that money a little bit better on a Disney cruise ship. So, that's what we're pretty excited for. If you don't know, obviously, like, it's all inclusive for the most part. There's 2 restaurants you got to spend extra money on. Those are adult only. You don't have to. Yeah. And they're adult only. So there's no kids. But really, like, soda's included, Coke products, your water's included. When you go in to eat at the main dining room, your drinks are included in there.
I always forget about that.
Right?
Because we've done so many Royal and Norwegian now. I mean, we always have like a drink package when we go on those cruises, but I always forget on Disney, like, that you can just order pretty much whatever it is you want to drink.
Yeah.
And it's included.
Yeah. Yeah. And, great buffet. I'm actually really looking forward to the barbecue on this ship. That was like so freaking good.
I forgot about the barbecue.
Yeah.
Oh my, I literally just got the chills. I am so excited.
I know.
It is the best quick service version of food on a cruise ship. I am telling you. Like,
it's
hands
pretty good.
down, that barbecue is fantastic.
Yeah.
Actually, that's actually really funny because one of the guys that was, like, the crew members that was working at the barbecue place on the Wish when we were there in August of 22, he said he had watched some of our videos.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was so funny. He's like, oh my gosh. He's like, I've watched some of your Disney Cruise videos.
Oh, wow.
He's like, before I started working for Disney Cruise Line.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
And I was like, oh my gosh, that is so cool.
Nice.
Yeah. So I love chatting with cast members and crew members. I don't care if they've ever even heard of us. I just love chatting with them.
Yeah.
Like, they're just, it's so interesting to hear their stories because the crew members are from everywhere, really. So it's interesting to hear like how they got into Disney Cruise Line, whether it's, they only ever worked for Disney Cruise Line or they worked in like hotels or they worked for another cruise line and then decided they wanted to go to Disney instead, how they ended up on the ships that they're on. If you have the time where you're just like hanging out on the ship and you can talk to some of the crew members.
Oh, yeah.
The coffee shop and like your dining team are like the easiest ones to like get
Chat
a hold
with.
of because they're like kind of in the same places all the time. But talk to crew members on the Disney cruise ships because
absolutely.
like, it's so much fun to just like
little
chats.
Yeah. So we're excited to be back. It's actually been 2 years since we've been on a Disney cruise ship.
Which is crazy because we did 3 in 2022.
Yeah, we did, I guess, didn't we?
January, August, November.
Yeah, we did. We did, actually, yeah. So, which is also a shameless plug for JTR Media. Because the last...
I love how you just went into that. That's
I know,
so
right?
funny.
The last Disney cruise that we did was on the Fantasy.
Yeah,
and we did a wedding on there, which was really cool. It was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are thinking about doing a wedding, we travel, right? We were just talking about it.
Not just
with
Disney
our schedule.
Cruise, but any other cruise line or really anywhere in the world.
Yep.
We do weddings wherever you want us to go.
Yeah. Yeah,
I do all of our photography, and Josh does all of our videography.
We haven't gotten an international one yet, and I'm not ashamed to ask anybody out there who would consider having us. We would love to do it internationally. That'd be awesome.
That would be really cool.
But yeah, so we're excited to be back on Disney. It is our
7th?
maybe something like that.
Okay, here, I can figure it out. We did Fantasy in 2014. That was our very first cruise. We did Fantasy in 2015.
Yep.
We
Magic
did,
2018.
Nope. Fantasy 2017 with my family again.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yep.
The Magic then in 2018.
And then the Magic in 2018.
Yep.
And then I think it wasn't until the Fantasy again in 2022.
Oh, yeah, you're right, because we were going to do...
Wish was our first cruise on Gold.
Yeah, because we were going to do a group cruise on the Fantasy, but because of COVID, it got nixed.
Was it the Fantasy?
Yeah, I think it was the Fantasy.
Or the Dream?
Or it might have been the Magic. It doesn't matter.
I don't remember.
So, yeah, so then the Wish was 6th.
Yeah, the Wish was 6th.
And then for some reason, we went back on the Fantasy again.
That was a wedding cruise.
Yes, I know.
But we love the Disney Fantasy, holds a special place in our heart.
Yeah.
It was our first cruise
It
ever.
does.
Our first Disney cruise.
Yeah.
So that was number 7. So this will be number 8.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
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 So we're gold because we've done 5 Disney cruises. We
Which
won't hit
might
the
be
next level till 10.
Might be changed, though, now. I can't remember what the new thing is.
I don't think so.
Oh, they didn't change it?
No, there's just one more higher tier
okay. Yeah.
that they added in.
Right.
Because there were people that have done a ton of cruises were
Right.
upset that they couldn't have another tier.
Right.
So I'm sure if I did that many cruises, I would probably want another tier too.
Yeah.
Better benefits.
Yeah.
Just little. If you are loyal, if you will, loyal to Royal is a really popular term. So if you're
catchy.
It's super catchy. If you're loyal to a cruise line and you return and you keep sailing with them, once you have so with Disney, it's per cruise to level up.
Right.
With other cruise lines, it's per days of cruising.
Right.
To level up. So with those levels or tiers or whatever, you get rewards.
Yeah,
if
you get
will.
some benefits.
Yeah. So whether that's like
We don't really get any
discounts
benefits.
on bottle of wines, we have a couple benefits.
I mean, I don't think anything that we take advantage of.
Yes, we can, because our next Royal Caribbean cruise, we did not get an alcohol package.
Oh, we were talking about Disney.
I know.
I'm not talking about any other
Disney?
cruise line. That's what I'm talking about. We're not talking about like
The only
Royal.
thing, so with our Disney benefits for being gold, the only real thing that we have is just that we get, well, we booked this cruise super last minute, so it doesn't matter.
We booked this cruise while we were in Scotland.
But your date to book like activities and stuff is a little bit sooner
Right.
than silver,
Right.
and then people who are first time cruisers.
Right. Yeah.
So that's really only our only.
That's the only
benefit
real benefit.
with our with our gold membership. But it's still cool because they give you a lanyard every time.
Yeah.
You get a Castaway Club bag.
Yeah, we'll get something. I think they just changed it up. So
Oh, I hope
a
they
different
did.
type of bag or something
I
like
hope
that,
so.
I think.
Well, last time
So-
we did the Wish, we got some inaugural stuff, which was
Yeah.
cool. And that wasn't just because we were Castaway Club members. That was like for everybody that sailed on the inaugural sailings. Plus, we got some Castaway Club stuff.
Right.
So I am excited.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. But like I said, I would be interested, love to know your guys' feedback on things that you'd like to see from the cruise. Obviously, we don't have any kids, so don't ask us to do something that's like family specific, I guess, like, I don't know what that would be. I mean, we could certainly do a tour of the kids club again on the very first day of being on the ship. I will say
I
it
don't
is
think we saw the other clubs. I think we only went to like the kids club.
Just that
because
kids-
you went down the slide.
Oh yeah, right. I plan to do that again.
I want to do it this time
yeah.
too.
Yeah, it was fun.
Oh shoot, I won't be able to because I'll be wearing a dress. That's why I didn't last time.
Guess you'll have to wear pants. If you want to go down the slide, you got to wear pants. Yeah. So, but I mean, let us know what you think, what you'd like to see, whatever. I'm always looking for
What do you want to know?
fresh
Like, what do you
ideas.
want to hear about
Sure.
cruising with Disney?
Right.
Not just what do you want to see on the ship. What
Yeah.
do you want to know? If you've cruised before or if you haven't cruised before, what are some questions you have about
Right.
cruising with Disney?
Yeah, because I mean, we'll certainly do some like vlog-ish style videos. I was saying this in the Patreon podcast that, we'll definitely still do an embarkation day video. People really seem to enjoy those, but then when it comes to the rest of the videos from throughout the cruise, like, they really can be just about anything and everything.
I think one of the days. Okay, so when we did the Disney cruise wedding back, the last Disney cruise that we went on, we got up one morning to do photos around the ship with the couple at like literally 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So that it was a completely empty ship. We got some awesome
Yeah.
pictures. Like the Peter Pan mural one will forever be one of my favorite
Yeah.
wedding photos. I love that mural, and it turned out so perfect with the lighting there. I think we don't have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, but I want to get up really early, and I want to go like take pictures around the ship and video and just like have the ship to ourselves early in the morning.
Yeah, we can.
Because do you know what it makes me think of?
What?
What's it make me think of, Josh?
I don't know.
The one video that I watched from before we went on our first cruise in 2014 where the
Oh,
guy
the
wore
guy
the GoPro
on
on
his
his
head
head
and
and
walks
walked
around.
the whole Disney fantasy
Yeah.
to like my favorite song that they always play at Disney Springs.
Yeah. Yeah, we could definitely do that too. We don't really normally do resort or cruise ship tours, but we could still walk around and like take photos and do different things like
Yeah,
that.
I mean, well, and you could even get just like B-roll video that you could use for later
Right.
to like overlay of us talking, or if we do like a talking head video
Yeah.
later or vlog or whatever
Right.
of just Disney Cruise Line.
Yeah.
My lighting went off my face.
But yeah, so it's pretty exciting. I don't really know what else to really dive into, but I will say that, is it worth going to Disney World still? Absolutely. For some people, it absolutely will 100% always be. Is my camera off? Anyways, we'll just wrap it up. But I know it's always
Cameras are dying.
I know that it's always going to be something for somebody who's always going to want to go back. But I would dare ask you that maybe that there are some other things that you could spend your money differently on and have.
Josh is
Just
looking
as
at
great.
his camera and it just died.
Yeah, it's fine. Where you can have just as great of a time, if not better, exploring something new and a little bit different. So we know that Disney World is certainly a safe place for a lot of people. And
yeah.
there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
It's
so.
that I think you can get this when you travel other places too, but I totally get it just from going to Disney World my whole life. It is an escape from reality.
Sure.
Like completely. So, and it's that magical place. And if you get it, you get it.
Right. Absolutely.
Like that's just what Disney is.
So, Sully's over here twitching. He must be in the deep
Nobody
sleep.
can see him anymore because the camera's off.
But yeah, so if you guys have stuff, let us know. We'd be happy to see what you guys have to say. You can leave it down in the comments below.
Well, he's probably dreaming about being chased around.
Probably by Rosie, yeah. Leave us down in the comments below something that you'd like us to know. Or you can send us a message or shoot us an email, travelwithjoshandtaylor@gmail.com. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.